All right, we got another NFL Combine update here from Indianapolis. It has been a nice evening. Caught up with a lot of people from the company, NFL people rolling in, and some NFL news that might relate to the 49ers. Laken Tomlinson, their former starting left guard who left for a big contract with the New York Jets. The Jets are going to cut him. So Laken Tomlinson's going to be back out on the market. And a lot of 49ers fans are saying, oh, sign Laken Tomlinson. We need help along the offensive line. Well, watch out. Laken Tomlinson allowed 51 pressures this past season, which was the second most in the NFL out of any guard. 51. Only Cody Mauch allowed more. Mauch, who plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, allowed 57 pressures. So Tomlinson, I mean, he was a durable player for the 49ers, but he wasn't a perfect player for the 49ers. Quinnen Williams beat Tomlinson to injure Jimmy Garoppolo in 2020. That obviously had big downstream effects. That was week 2 against the New York Jets at what they call Met Death Stadium, not MetLife Stadium, Met Death Stadium. So that was obviously on Laken Tomlinson's track record. I think that he was so damn durable, though. He only missed one snap, and it was because his shoe came off. There was a shoe malfunction. He only missed one snap in his time with the 49ers, and that durability was a big calling card of his. That being said, he has been nowhere near as good over the past 2 seasons with the Jets, and someone can argue that, okay, Kyle Shanahan's system and the 49ers' talent offensively brought out the best in Laken Tomlinson, and there probably is some fairness to that statement, but he's 32 years old now, and even if there is some fairness to that statement, he gave up a whole hell of a lot of pressure last year. Also, on top of that, Laken Tomlinson is a left guard. The 49ers have a left guard in Aaron Banks. He's only under contract for one more year, but it's right guard where the 49ers can really use an upgrade. And that right guard position where I'm not sure if Laken Tomlinson would be able to just line up at right guard and make it work. The 49ers, remember, this is not easy to be interchangeable. Remember, the 49ers drafted Aaron Banks in 2021, and they still had Tomlinson under contract, and they wanted Banks to play right guard that first year. They tried to convert him to the right side of the offensive line so he could plug in there as a first-year rookie, and it didn't really work out. Banks played 5 snaps in his rookie season. It was garbage time against Jacksonville. He didn't start playing until 2022 when he took over the starting left guard spot for Laken Tomlinson, who had gone to the Jets. So, I think if you could bring in Laken Tomlinson at the minimum non-guaranteed price, which might not even be possible because he is a pedigreed player in this league and he has delivered. I mean, he still has delivered these marathon seasons without missing a snap. He's one of the most durable players in football. It's going to be tough to bring a guy like that, even if he is toward the end of his career, even if he is declining, it's going to be hard to bring a guy like that in at the minimum. If you can bring him in at the minimum, sure. But if you're talking about specifically improving the offensive line, I'm not really sure that the data is there to suggest that Laken Tomlinson would easily do that for the 49ers because of all the reasons that I just illustrated, all the pressure that he gave up with the Jets, the fact that he's 32 years old. There's a reason why New York cut him. And, the fact that left and right, that matters. That absolutely matters in these discussions of offensive linemen. Some players are better suited for the left side. Some players are better suited for the right side. So we'll see what the 49ers end up doing. A guy like John Feliciano is a pending free agent. He did a good job for the 49ers at right guard this year, got hurt in the Super Bowl, and that's why Burford had to come back in. I like a prospect like Graham Barton out of Duke. If we're talking about the combine where I'm at right now, I'll take a look at Graham Barton this week. He was a right tackle at Duke, so we know he has the footwork for the right side, probably kicks in the right guard at the NFL level, but can eventually learn how to play center. And I think the 49ers might need that for their offensive line looking into the future, even though Jake Brendel is currently under contract. It's center, right guard, right tackle. Those positions on the offensive line, the 49ers can use upgrades at all 3 of them, to be 100% honest. So we'll see how they can maneuver it this offseason. A player like Graham Barton is one of those potential interior linemen with potential flexibility for the San Francisco 49ers. So signing Laken Tomlinson, no, I don't think that that's a slam dunk proposition. Yes, for San Francisco. I think you would have to find a really bargain rate and you'd have to compete. And I'm not really sure that even with a declining skill set and coming off of a bad couple of years, I don't think that Laken Tomlinson will necessarily be a minimum player. But we'll see. We'll see what the market ends up holding for him, as the Jets have cut him a little bit early to give him some time to get a head start on the rest of the free agent pool. Update from earlier today. I did my NFL Combine report here from Indianapolis. Shanahan has interviewed Brandon Staley and Nick Sorensen. It's absolutely not a rush, this defensive coordinator search. The 49ers are the only team that doesn't have a DC, so they are not fighting with anybody else for viable candidates. Shanahan says he's going to have this done by the end of this week, hopefully, so he could start focusing on other things, but he's got a couple more candidates to bring in an interview. I'm wondering if Jeff Ulbrich is somebody that the 49ers want to bring in. Speaking of the Jets, they released Laken Tomlinson, but they have not released Jeff Ulbrich. And Jeff Ulbrich is their defensive coordinator, who's been really good over the past 3 years. Came in and they had the worst defense his first year, but they added the talent and they obviously built in the culture. Now, Robert Saleh will probably get most of the credit for this defense, but the fact that Robert Saleh is there in New York and Ulbrich has worked underneath him means that Ulbrich could be a fit for what the 49ers want on the defensive side of the ball. That's why I say he's a seemingly ideal candidate if the Jets would let him go to San Francisco. And there might have to be a trade of some sort to make that happen. There might have to be some sort of exchange for this to be an amenable deal for the Jets. But I think it would be amenable for Ulbrich. I think he fits better than somebody like Brandon Staley. That would have to be a restructuring the defense unless the 49ers made Staley conform to them. They already tried to do that with Steve Wilkes. Didn't really work out. Somebody like Nick Sorensen or somebody like Daniel Bullocks, both of those guys already with the 49ers. So that wouldn't require the same type of shifting of the defensive strategy. Those guys would just try to run what the 49ers already have run. But I do think that the experience here, the play calling experience, is important for Kyle Shanahan. Anyway, it is a beautiful evening in Indianapolis. I told you guys about the warm breeze here, 70 degrees, all great. Let's open this up to a 49ers Q&A on the channel, and we can start talking as they sit here on the hotel couch in Indianapolis. The week really gets started tomorrow in earnest. That's when John Lynch is going to be here. We'll talk to him around midday, and we'll have the full report after that. So 49ers Q&A ready to go. I know a lot of you are probably asking some questions while you were waiting. Obviously, I have a lot to do here at the NFL Combine, so thanks for waiting. Hopefully the comment section was lit over the course of that time. We got somebody's going to be the Fresno Visalia area tomorrow. Any good spots for lunch? Yeah, I would, you can go for a coffee to, well, actually, that's going to be more of a breakfast spot where I get my breakfast burritos downtown. So I'm not going to send you there. Lunch in Visalia. So let's think. Let's send you to a good spot in Visalia. Super Taco. If you want some good Mexican food, it's out in Wood Lake, but the one in Visalia is, I think it's on the north side. I think they have a new Super Taco in Visalia. The original location's in Wood Lake. That's about 20 minutes away. You can go there. Also, Orange Works. Orange Works in downtown Visalia. A good tri-tip sandwich. You'll get a drink. You get the iced tea, and you'll get the orange ice cream with it. It's all a bundle deal, so you can go check out Orange Works. If you want more of a sit-down place, then what do you want? Do you want a sit-down place, or do you want something a little bit more grab and go like that? Obviously, the In-N-Out Burger on Mooney Boulevard, you can't miss with that. But if we're going sit-down, I got more dinner recommendations for you. So keep it at the grab and go for lunch in Visalia. Go to Orange Works or go to Super Taco, something like that. And you can go more sit-down for dinner in Visalia. Good. You think the tri-tip sandwich sounds great. Orange Works downtown Visalia, it is. And the orange ice cream is good too. Make sure you get the full meal. That's going to give you a nice little taste of the Central Valley. Could the delay that Tim spoke of be that the 49ers want Ulbrich, but the Jets said no, and now they have to interview other candidates? Yes. Or it could be that, and this is all speculation again. It could also be that The Jets said no, but the 49ers are thinking a way to sweeten the pot so that Ulbrich can come back home to the Bay Area. It's all possible. I'm just connecting dots, reading tea leaves in this case, and that's all that we can do right now. But Kyle Shanahan did legitimately say that he wants this search to be over, or expects it to be over by the end of this week. Smash that like button. How did I get into my career covering the 49ers? Well, I started covering Stanford football when I was a student there. I was a radio broadcaster for the student radio station. Jim Harbaugh happened to be the coach. We can get deeper into this in the future. I mean, there's some crazy good breaks for me as far as Stanford turning it around in that 2006 to 2010 era. That kind of propelled me into covering Stanford football after I was done with school. Got picked up by ESPN, then from ESPN to The Athletic. Contrary to some people's opinion, I never covered Harbaugh with the 49ers. I only covered Harbaugh with Stanford. I was not covering the 49ers. I was covering college football for ESPN in the mid 2010s. And then I joined The Athletic to cover the 49ers in 2017. We got a Visalia native here, Wolf777. We got people saying, please no, I'm Brandon Staley. And I think, I just find it hard to believe. And, maybe Kyle Shanahan will say, no, I just want to outsource the defense and he could change anything he wants. But it just seems contextually, it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to want to hire somebody who's going to change things up a year after trying to change some of the things up. Bringing in an outsider didn't work out all too well for the 49ers. And I think Staley might be a fine defensive coach. I'm just not sure if that's exactly what the 49ers are looking for. And hey, if they were blown away by the interview of Brandon Staley, you would think they would have already hired him, right? I mean, he did a great job of the Rams defense in 2020. That was his lone year as a defensive coordinator. And then he was the coach of the Chargers. And, Steve Spagnuolo was a bad head coach and a really good, great defensive coordinator. So it's possible for that to be the case. But I think we need to focus a lot on what the 49ers want out of this whole situation as well. Can the 49ers pick up Azeez Al-Shire? Yeah, if he makes it to free agency without re-signing with Tennessee, that's in a couple weeks, then yes, Azeez Al-Shire could be a possibility for the San Francisco 49ers. We got more Visalia recommendations. Brewbakers, Quesadilla Gorilla, House of Juju. I never heard of DeVorn's. Solid lunch spots in downtown Visalia. All right. All right, cool. Graham Barton, predictions for draft on the Niners O-line. I mean, draft predictions, to me, it just seems so silly this far ahead of time. We don't know what the 49ers visit list looks like. We need to see guys perform here at the NFL Combine. Graham Barton, adaptable offensive lineman out of Duke. Going to have a close look at him this week. But I think that flexibility, positional versatility is going to be something to covet for the 49ers up front. All right, guys, thank you very much. This is your 49ers update from the Combine. Everybody have a good night. We'll talk to you very soon.